We are on live.
Namaste. Good evening, everybody. Today has been a very hectic day with a lot of academic programs on the Integrative Medicine Continuous Education Series. And this is a very important day because we are joined by our distinguished guest from Saudi Arabia. Nouf Marwaal is the founder and president of Arab Yoga Foundation, famously known as the first yoga acharya from Saudi Arabia. And she's a certified yoga teacher in Saudi Arabia. Incidentally, there was a meeting in Saudi Arabia when I chanced to listen to her talk, and we thought that our viewers should benefit from her experience and activities in Saudi Arabia. So she gracefully accepted the invitation, and here she is with us. So I'll just briefly tell you a little bit more about her. She was very recently awarded Padmashri by the President of India. So that's a very important achievement for someone who is outside India. Apparently, she's doing a lot of good work, academic work in yoga, and we'll hear from her what she's doing. And in terms of her qualifications, she's highly qualified. She has diploma in holistic weight loss certification, lifestyle counselor diploma under Dr. David Frowley. As you all know, he was with us on the International Day of Yoga. This particular life counselor diploma she gained from Dr. David Frowley in 2006, 2007. And she also got trained in nutritional and natural health training from PVA College, Kerala. So this shows that she keeps visiting India. So she has some Indian links. And she founded the Alliance Gulf and the Arab Yoga Foundation. She's also the honorary secretary of International Yoga Federation, Italy, and has been advisor to Asian Yoga Federation. So apparently she works on various countries, committees, on fronts associated with yoga. So she's quite global. She's been the member of advisory board of the World Yoga Council of Europe as well in 2015, and was the member of the President's Committee in International Yoga Federation Italy in the same year. She was also the head of Arab World Yoga Committee in International Yoga Federation Italy in 2015. Apparently, she represented her country in that forum. Above all, Ms. Nouf has been bestowed with the Women Empowerment Award. Congratulations to you, Nouf, for making it
Thank
to our
you.
platform. And our viewers have been looking forward. There have been a lot of shares and views already looking up at the program. I think this is about 111th or 112th day of continuous integrative medicine updates in which we bring in people outside the modern medicine fold. And the viewers are about 10,300 subscribers who get the immediate alert as soon as you go live or anyone goes live. And we have three programs, one in the morning, 7:30, 12:30, and 6 p.m. we invite eminent people. Not me, not many of us knew that so much is happening in yoga in your country, Saudi Arabia. We did have one lady, Miss Fatima, represent Bahrain, but your Padmashri enlightened us all to the fact that there is a lot of activities you've been spearheading, leading. So we would like to hear from your own self, how has been your journey in life and in Saudi Arabia, in activities that you're doing, and in what way you are headed in years to come. So welcome. We welcome you to give your talk and talk to us.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Namaste to all of you. As you heard, my name is Nouf Marwaal and I'm from Saudi Arabia. I grew up in the capital in Riyadh, but I moved to Jeddah as my family is from this region originally. I started my yoga journey in Riyadh in 1998, and it's around 21 years since I started. And today I can proudly say that yoga is very famous in Saudi Arabia, widely practiced, also supported by different government organizations as they see it a health and wellness practice. We also practice different types of yoga here. In my city alone in Jeddah, there are more than 10,000 practitioners of yoga. There's a lot of yoga studios started opening. and getting a legal license, since yoga was officially approved and listed by the Sports Authority. Now it's called the Sports Ministry of Saudi Arabia in 2017 in November. There's a lot of people are taking yoga seriously here, and we have a lot of yoga activities are going on around the kingdom, even in small towns. And people who have been to Saudi Arabia or living in Saudi Arabia, I mean, from different parts of the world, in the beginning, they might not really believe that even small towns around Saudi Arabia have yoga studios and yoga teachers, but like Abha or Tabuk, but there's a lot of studios that are opening up too, and there is already active centers providing yoga. The way we see yoga here in Saudi Arabia, we see it as a health and well-being and integrative part recently. When it was approved by the Sports Authority because it was the part that the government wanted to incorporate, because in 2016, the government decided to support the most famous activities that can help the society, because there was a campaign for active, healthy society. We have a lot of statistics for sedentary and lifestyle disease here. And after the government studied that, they decided to support communities and activities to be practiced widely in Saudi Arabia. And of course, yoga was one of them because of the big number of practitioners and teachers that are not only Saudis, but also non-Saudis in the kingdom. But compared to other maybe Arab countries, more Saudis and locals are involved in yoga in Saudi Arabia than other Arab or GCC countries where more foreigners are involved in yoga. When I started my journey, it was very difficult for me to find a yoga studio or a yoga teacher. It was not difficult, it was impossible for me to find anybody to train with. And that time in Saudi Arabia, yoga sports, the women's sports were not really openly practiced, and due to certain cultural restrictions, there was a lot of restrictions on women's sports. And of course, I'm talking about 1998, but now there is a lot of women empowerment happened since 2006, since King Abdullah's time, the late King Abdullah, and then the other, the leadership that King Salman and the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman started empowering women in every sector. When I started practicing yoga, that was because of my health issues, and the limited options were left for me that time, because I was born sick. By the time of birth, I was 1 kilo 200 grams only. And but after I was born, my dad was sent to work for the embassy in Tunisia, another Arab country, and in there, they discovered a lot of health issues and allergies I have. I was not even breastfed by my mother because of my allergies and the issues I had. Growing up with limited options in food and a lot of struggle with my joints, my vitality, my health, I was even underweight. I used to go for horseback riding and swimming. And since my dad was also the founder of the martial arts federations in the Arab countries and Saudi Arabia, he was exposed somehow to yoga and meditation, and he had books. He studied also in Japan, and he regularly went to the East. But it was not easy for me to follow that. Even my dad tried to train me in martial arts, but my joints and my health was not that good. So I had to quit. By the age of 17, my health started deteriorating even more. And by the age of 18, I was diagnosed with systemic lupus. And if anybody know what is systemic lupus erythematosus, or SLE, it's an autoimmune disease, and where the antibodies of the immune system starts attacking different body organs and parts. And that disease was not really known then, and they took years to diagnose me. until one day I went on a septic shock and I was under observation in the hospital, and I was not conscious. I don't know what happened with me. And when I woke up, they said, we don't want to label you, but we think you have lupus. And this disease is very rare. We will still observe you, but you're not allowed to be under the sunlight. You're not allowed for hard activities. And there was a lot of restrictions. And I was vegetarian, not by choice, but because of my allergies. I reacted, as in this region, people are not really vegetarian. And that time, vegetarianism was not really known. But due to my health issues, I was not even eating cheese or milk or dairy products. So I was mostly a vegan. At the age of 18, I was 38 kilograms weight, and I struggled. They stopped me from going to school, mom and dad, and the school decided that I should quit until my health improves. So sitting at home for a whole year, like a semester and a summer, I decided to just look for more options, what to practice, what sport I can do. And I found a small yoga book and I started practicing. Now, what changed in my life when I started practicing yoga? There were no resources at that time in Saudi Arabia. Even the options for women gyms did not know what is yoga, and it was risky for me to go just try anything. And alternative medicine was so limited, it was not really accredited in Saudi Arabia, just a limited part of it. So, and my mom and dad were very worried about my health because doctors said there is no hope. I was on a lot of medications, even supplements because I can't eat. What changed in my life? Yoga was different because it was a gentle type of movement, and with regular breath, practicing the savasana, the yoga nidra, and the meditation, I noticed a change in my symptoms. So the main symptoms I struggled with was fatigue, general fatigue, joint stiffness. I would wake up in the morning and I won't be able to move out of my bed for 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes, because my joints won't move. I won't move. I feel paralyzed or numb. And it was so painful at some parts of my body. And I was living in the capital, as I said, that is more like a desert region. And the weather in winters was so cold that sometimes it's -2 or -4. So even in normal cold, my fingers will turn blue and yellow. Sometimes I won't be able to write my exams. They will give me extra time. They will try to give me something to warm my hands to be able to just regain the circulation. And later on, I discovered that was called Raynaud's phenomena. I struggled with digestive issues, was my biggest issue. I won't have a proper digestion. I might eat and just get admitted in the hospital for several reasons. I might not digest certain foods. I might just get stomach pain, and I might just have certain allergy attacks. So I had panic attacks then because I was young. I didn't know what was going on with me, and eventually I developed depression. And with that, the doctors insisted on my parents that I try antidepressants. And from the first day I was put on that medication, I had suicidal thoughts. I told my dad that I feel like I want to die. So he kept me next to him the whole night, and he was giving me liquids and spoke to doctors to just know how to detox my system. After that day, I decided that I should do something. When I started practicing yoga, the main symptoms I spoke about started receding. I started having a relief, mainly the stiffness of my joints. I had a deep sleep. My panic attacks started really, really disappearing. I was even surprised the first day when I practiced yoga and I tried and I followed the steps that I really fell asleep without waking up feeling like I'm gonna die or I can't breathe or hyperventilated. So I decided to continue, and I improved that I started even looking at the diet option, and I started reading about naturopathy and Ayurveda. There was no sources, so I just found in the internet what I can find, and I followed naturopathic diet, and I amazingly started improving. So I went back to school, I graduated, and then I went to psychology. I went to psychology because my dream was to study psychiatry or neurology, but my dad said you can't because your health, and we're worried. So my uncle suggested, he was a manager or a director in the university, so he suggested maybe I can study psychology and then go to clinical psychology. I did that. It was amazing because that gave me an insight about what is basically yoga doing in my system. And during that time, I'm talking about 2000, 2001, 2002, most of the scientific studies focused only on meditation and relaxation and stress release effect of yoga on the brain, not really studying any other practices like pranayams or asanas. At least I could not find any, but I kept on practicing, and then I decided to study yoga. I decided to create awareness in the university where I was studying in King Saud University. So whenever I have a presentation about something related to the brain function, or wherever, in that part, or the mental problems or the psychological problems, especially anxiety, panic attacks, and phobia. Depression studies were limited with yoga then, but I found out the other studies were also helpful. And especially when you talk about meditation, the development of the prefrontal area of the brain. So I made a lot of presentations that maybe attracted some people and some teachers. After that, I moved to Jeddah. When the doctor said it's impossible for me to have a baby, so I didn't focus, but eventually I had a baby, and he's really healthy without any medication or anything. I stopped the medication, and it's really risky to say that. And I don't advise any person with an autoimmune disease to stop their medication without good consultation or support with the doctors they're following up with. But that time I was maybe excited, so I stopped the medication, but I went into remission. I suffered in my pregnancy, and after the delivery, I got kidney inflammation, and lupus got really active and was about to attack my kidneys. So I went to Kerala then. I went to Kerala not because I was sure I'll do the Ayurvedic treatment, because they scare you a lot when they talk about these things, but I wanted to study to know how to eat, because even I was 26 years old, I was 39 kgs, around 39, 40, even after the birth of my son. I had fatigue, I had a lot of skin rash and sun sensitivity and health issues. So I went to Kerala, and when I went to Kerala, I went to PVA hospital. It was in Kannur with Dr. Abdurrahman Koilan. He's a brilliant doctor when it comes to autoimmune disease. So there I met some people came from Australia, Europe. Some people had really autoimmune disease, and they were recovering on the lifestyle. Just being in nature, reducing toxins, eating according to Ayurveda, and getting the basic panchakarma, I improved. So at that time, my ANA was really positive and strong positive. My ESR was high, was above 50. And my C-reactive protein was really high too. The indicator for my lupus activity was high, C3, C4 was low. After 1 month of the treatment, I felt better, and I was studying. And then I came back for real treatment because I didn't continue that time. I was tired, I was struggling to cope with the new environment and food. So I started coming back, studying and doing treatment, following just the Ayurvedic lifestyle, improved my health amazingly with lupus. And I decided to just study more about yoga, Ayurveda, and naturopathy. And since 2000, maybe four, I was in the Saudi media speaking about yoga. After I started studying Ayurveda, I started speaking about it. I was amazed at the response I get from people. And my first media appearance was in the TV was basically my boss. I was volunteering in the mental health hospital in Jeddah. And my boss, she's very known here as a health educator, Dr. Samira Al-Ghamdi, invited me to speak on her program. It's about women health in the Saudi national TV. And she gave me a long time. We spoke about yoga, Ayurveda, the doshas, the lifestyle, and that invited a lot of interest from people that a lot of people wanted to try and know. And some people would ask me that were people worried? No, people basically thought yoga and meditation might be a Buddhist practice because they all hear about the meditation in Buddhism, but they didn't know much about yoga and Ayurveda. So when I educate them about what is Hatha yoga and how is it practiced and how it's beneficial for health, and a lot of studies started coming out with a lot of media appearances, newspapers, magazines, as social media was not really that time. We only had Facebook, but of course was the TV mainly and the newspapers and the magazines. The interest started really spreading around. And we continued doing what we're doing. Even that time, yoga had no classification in the Saudi system. When I wanted to open a center or a studio, I struggled with the license. So here, when I started contacting the authorities and trying with different sectors, so it was for Saudi Arabia, I'll be very honest with you, yoga is of two types. Either it's practiced as a health and wellness practice or more an integrative method, or a sport, because there is a lot of people practice yoga asanas in Saudi Arabia. That includes meditation and relaxation, but of course they avoid certain other practices because they really see the benefits of the practice in their health. And meditation is acceptable here because people generally practice meditation here when they pray or in Ramadan or when they go on Hajj. So it started spreading really, and because people did not really have that fear from yoga, because in Saudi Arabia, people study religion at school. So we know that we're advised to take care of our health. And unless we're not really breaking any rules when it comes to the religious practices, there is no issue. So after there were changes according to health and wellness practice in Saudi Arabia, I started contacting authorities. So that time, Princess Rima bint Bandar Al Saud was nominated, and she was the deputy for the Saudi Federation's sports, and later on she became the president, and she was the deputy of the sports ministry at that time. So I met her, and she was really aware of the practice of yoga, and I started working with the authorities and regulating yoga practices and setting standards and all that. And in November, I started early in 2017 with the authorities, and in November 2017, specifically 13th of November, yoga was listed as an activity that people are allowed to issue a license to open yoga studio or a yoga center. And we get a lot of support from the Sports Authority, and until now from the Sports for All Federation, with different initiatives for activities for health, well-being, sports. They always invite us, the yogis of Saudi Arabia, to participate. Recently, we started really getting invitations from different organizations in Saudi Arabia, whether governmental or non-governmental, especially with the new vision of Saudi Arabia that focuses on health and well-being and quality of life. There's a lot of interest around yoga and what yoga can offer for health. And last year, there was a conference organized by the Sports Medicine Federation in Saudi Arabia about yoga therapy and rehabilitation, and that is a big step, because now yoga, if we look at yoga, there is a wide range of let's say health benefits that we can benefit by practicing yoga. In 2015 in Jeddah, when the Yoga Day was announced by the UN and all the efforts of the Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji, we celebrated the first public official yoga event in Saudi Arabia and Jeddah with the Consulate of India. And we continued celebrating after that. And the number of people, the locals in Saudi Arabia that showed up was impressive. Even we get a permission for a certain number, always double the number showed up. So we started getting supports also from the authorities for these activities. And I think now people don't have doubt about yoga in Saudi Arabia. Of course, we face maybe criticism, or I get contacted by people, but honestly, I'll be very honest with you, not local Saudis, as we can really differentiate what to do and what not to do. And I think yoga is an important practice. Even if you're just practicing asana sometimes and pranayama early in the morning, it will still benefit you biologically, physiologically, and psychologically on different levels as a human being. So why do we limit such an important science because we have certain wrong ideas? If we go to the source, I studied always in the Himalayas and Rishikesh, in Kerala. None of my teachers tried to impose anything on me that goes against my religion or my culture. So if anybody has any questions, maybe.
Thank you, Nouf, for a very nice and comprehensive description of your struggle with SLE, and then you made it a mission and started working with the authorities and your kingdom authorities to set up different yoga organizations and studios. There's a lot of appreciation here by the Facebook viewers, and one of them says, and I will read out: surprising effects of yoga and yoga nidra and meditation behind your long-term struggling health story. The transformation is really amazing. Thanks a lot for sharing your story behind yoga and meditation, yoga nidra. I personally experienced it. It's very inspirational vision shared in this session. Thank you so much, ma'am. So that's very nice of so many viewers watching and commenting. But what my question to you, just one or two questions for you, and then you may we reflect on that. Is first one is because you struggled for SLE and you realized that this is an untreatable disorder, and then you almost became a SLE warrior. Do you want to take this further into a integrated mode, or are you working with any hospitals to
Yes.
so that the others can benefit?
Yes, we're working, and we also offer a lot of supports for different foundations here in Saudi Arabia: Rheumatic Disease Foundation, Lupus Foundation, MS Foundation. We always provide them even yoga teacher training courses for free, so they can go and help others. We get a lot of invitations even from government hospitals for seminars, conferences when it comes to breast cancer, and yoga as recreation therapy. Recently, there is a lot of interest also in different research centers in Saudi Arabia about rheumatic disease, because of certain studies that suggested that yoga can reduce inflammatory markers in the blood. And we spoke about that. A lot of my students are basically doctors. They come to train to be yoga teachers, and then they carry it. And we did actually with the King Saud University in Jeddah, a small research preview for yoga for neurological diseases. And the students came to my center because they're medical students, but they don't have any background in yoga. So I just gave them an introduction, and I gave them a lecture on certain studies and the effect of yoga on our system, especially practicing certain asanas and breathing techniques on the vasovagus nerve, on different even digestive health issues, depression. Recently, there has been a lot going on in the scientific part about this disease. And the review is nice. They discuss certain neurological disease, includes epilepsy and yoga practice. So this is like a very good step. toward the integrative approach of yoga in Saudi Arabia. Especially the people and the authorities are very interested in the wellness and more preventive methods for citizens and expatriates who live in Saudi Arabia.
So, you know, the journal that is actually running this program is Integrative Medicine Case Reports, and we publish and invite articles that show the good effects or bad effects or whatever effects of an intervention outside the modern medicine or as adjunct to the modern medicine. So your doctors, your students, if they benefit and if they have before and after parameters to
Yes.
score for the improvement or no improvement or whatever, we would like to publish those reports if they are put up in a format,
Yes,
particularly
I
from your,
have.
yeah.
I have for different cases who came to me with different health issues, and I have also. I was invited last year to Shri Krishnamacharya Center, and there was a conference about yoga therapy. So I gave a presentation also about my health, and I put the results and the reports before and after. I think yoga can be a very important method in integrative medicine because of the effect of the practices on the brain. That, of course, affects the whole system.
And especially because when you've been fighting the disease and also becoming an activist and propagating it, if you bring in the science of it and the cost effectiveness,
Yes,
it can become a global effect. It's already a global phenomena, global acceptance is already
yes,
there. But if we can have yoga protocol for SLE, yoga protocol for epilepsy, we can work together in
yes, yes.
evidence for that together within
It's
our country
amazing.
in Saudi Arabia. We can bring in our embassy, the embassy over there in Saudi Arabia, and
Okay.
the embassy in India to work on a
Let,
collaborative bilateral program on generating evidence towards integrative medicine with yoga, Ayurveda.
yes, already the embassy is doing a lot here. They have certain yoga classes for certain health issues for locals and expatriates in Saudi Arabia. It's completely free. And they already discussed this with me last year that we should do something in this field. And we can maybe plan something like that.
Yes, sure. So I would like to formally thank you on behalf of the Yoga Scholars PGMER and all the viewers and Integrative Medicine Case Reports and the editorial board members that you took out time and shared your experience with us, inspired so many audience as well as patients. Presumably some patients must also be listening. And if not, I will send the link to you and also to our patient organizations to listen to what you said. And it's been a proud privilege to have you with us. Thank you very much for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thanks a lot. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.